Hello, lovely viewers. You are welcome to another episode of the Daily Trends TV show here on New World TV. We welcome you all to this episode, and we are glad to have you here with us. We want to say thank you to all our viewers who have kept on with us, and to say welcome to all our new viewers as well. Today, we shall be talking on the topic girl-child education and women empowerment. I entreat you to stay here until the end of the show, because at the end of the show, we'll be sharing with you some NGOs that help in women empowerment and girl-child education as well. Today, I am here as your host, Akugwe Salome Atema, with
Selina Asante.
I am Ayebing Perpetua.
Okay, so we get right into the topic, girl-child education and women empowerment. Girl-child education, when we say what is it about? It is just about educating the girl child and also giving her the power to equip herself, equipping her with the power of knowledge and practice as well. We talk about education, we have formal education, we have non-formal education, and we have informal education. All of these are things that we are going to touch on our topic today.
Okay, so when we talk about girl-child education, it refers to the aspect of education that aims at developing the skills and knowledge of girls and women from all backgrounds. Come to think of it, before the Second World War, the women were only limited to the kitchen because of the mindset that she will end up in a man's house. But during the Second World War, when all the men went out to fight, most of them were either killed or injured. And these same women who were prevented from going to school had to assume the positions of these men. And then it dawned on society that women education was really important.
Right. In my view, education is the key for unlocking a brighter future for both gender. And as much as my other gender will disagree with me, facts remain facts, and you all will agree with me that there is no greater investment that comes along with greater opportunity than educating a girl child.
Right.
And we can talk about some prominent people in history that has helped in education. We can talk about Kubaba, who was the first woman in history to be a ruler. We can talk about Hypatia, who was the first female scholar. And we can even talk about Juliana Morel, who was the first woman to have a degree in history.
Yeah.
That means education is very critical in the life of a female child.
Right, and these people have set up their pace for us all to follow. And yes, yeah, that's a very nice history over there, right? So, I mean, despite the fact that we are talking about all these things, I think there are still certain things that are preventing a lot of ladies from going to school. Even in today, a lot of ladies do not get a chance to go to school. And I mean, what are some of these barriers? What are some of these things that you would think of when we talk about education and girls not being able to get educated?
Okay, so when we talk about some of these barriers, an example is just a period stigmatization. Okay. That is to say, these ladies, we know it's a monthly discharge. Yes.
Right.
So when you are in your period, you feel pains and stuff. And now, if you are not able to get pad, there's no money. That's poverty. You don't have the money to afford all these things. It will be really difficult for you to go to school, because when you get to school, you feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And so there's no need. You think it's not necessary for you to go to school.
Add up, we see that we have some schools, they lack infrastructure. So some females use the same washroom as guys. So when you look at this, being in my period and using the same washroom with a guy,
you don't have money to afford sanitary pad, and you have to use a rag. Now you go to the washroom, you soil it and come.
See that I'm using rag. I'll use it in school. And
yeah, I think that is true.
Drop out of school.
Right, and also with this same period stigmatization, we see the situation where guys intentionally avoid females when they notice they are in their period. Exactly. And that, I don't think it is the right thing to do. So in order for us to curb this, I think we need to educate guys also on the menstrual cycle and all of that, to help them rather be a moral support, because a lot of people go through pain in this period. Yes, a lot of pain and all of that. So rather need moral support instead of,
stigma.
Yes, stigma, yeah.
Okay, so another barrier that we can talk about is early marriage. And with early marriage, that's when a girl who is under the age of 18 is being forced to marriage. And society have this perception that when the girl is being forced to marriage, it will reduce the burden on the family. That's the economic burden. And with this, you can see that they have even other views that it will reduce stigma.
Right.
How can this reduce stigma?
So just adding to your point, this early marriage, the family think that they are doing that to help, maybe to prevent wasting money on the girl, forgetting that they have health issues. Because this girl is very little, you are sending her to go and marry. How?
The girl can be subjected to domestic violence and even have health complications when giving birth.
Yes, and that's doing with the reproductive health and all of that, because at that time the reproductive system is not matured to contain all the things that comes with pregnancy and sex and all of that. So it's very complicated. Yeah, and also I think the main thing here we look at is poverty. That's just one thing, because I mean, I don't see the reason why someone would have the money and refuse to take the girl child to school.
It's not money, but sometimes you should also try to endure. Though there's no money, you shouldn't also say because of you not having enough funds to send the girl child to school, you should allow her to go into early marriage. That is not it. Try and get her doing something. Not to just send her to early marriage.
That is why we have formal education. If you cannot afford formal education, there is informal education as well. Learning a trade. Right. That is very true. Right, so
you can even talk of gender inequality as a barrier.
Okay.
I have an experience about that. My mom, she was forced to stop schooling because my grandmother gave birth to twins, so she was forced to stop schooling and take care of the younger ones.
Right. Well, that is gender preference.
Yes.
Gender preference. Yeah, they feel they prefer that the male should go to school instead of the female.
She was the only female, so in this case, she should have been given the opportunity.
Right.
She was rather asked
to stay out and then
to take care of the younger ones.
Yes, help the mom sell, because the female would better be selling and all of that.
Come and marry her.
Yes.
Definitely.
So if they are doing this and the guys that they train in school don't come back to marry these same ladies who are at home, what then happens to those people?
Oh. Well, that is a question to yes. Yeah, that's where the problem lies, and that is the reason why we need to educate everyone, regardless whether you are male or female. But most especially, we need to educate our females. Yes.
Because if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman,
you educate the whole nation. Yes. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, talking about the barriers now, let's talk about some inconveniences that this girl child education has brought about. I don't know, but I'm not supposed to see any inconveniences in this, but it's rather unfortunate. With everything, there is a disadvantage. Every coin has two sides.
Yeah.
So,
the head and the tail.
Yes. Right. So, I mean, we're looking at the inconveniences that the girl child education has brought to society.
Okay. I can think of divorce.
Divorce, I know that was the first thing you were going to mention. Right?
True, divorce. Because if I am educated, I have a higher level of education than my husband. Definitely it will be hard for me to be submissive to him because I have taken his role as a man. So definitely no man in this world would like to be in the same position as a woman, as in a woman must always be submissive.
Yes.
So me challenging the man.
Yeah, trying to rub shoulders and
quarrel in the family each and every day.
With men and their ego.
Yes.
But you having upper hand than your husband doesn't mean that you shouldn't be submissive to your husband.
Right.
True.
Yes.
The root is there, but you know that it happens rarely. But in most cases, you can even see that. You can see from some females who have higher degree and higher level of education. Mostly, that's what you face.
Okay, so I mean, I get that. So one thing we can talk about is rubbing shoulders with men, and this ego of men that yes, they are men. It's a man's world. It's a man's world. So he's supposed to submit, and of course, even the good book says we are supposed to submit. So yes, we have to accept that.
So the ladies will have to submit. And what would the guys do? If the ladies
they are supposed to respect, and when you submit, they're supposed to love you for submitting.
So do they do that?
They do. Oh, you don't think they do?
I don't think.
No, I think they do.
They only just prefer the lady to be submissive to them, but whatever they want to do, they do it.
I mean, they're human beings too. They have emotions. Yes, they're human beings.
Have emotions.
They're human beings. They have emotions. So I don't think that you submit and they'll be so inconsiderate. They still consider a lot of things here. So I think, but the main thing that I think brings about divorce in marriage is mostly when it comes to childbirth. Because there was this scenario, where a friend of mine gave, he is a counselor, marriage counselor. So he gave me a scenario of a couple. They had troubles with childbirth, and the reasons why they were having troubles with childbirth was because the woman intentionally avoided it. So after they had made love, she goes to the restroom and then she would take in medicine, post pills, to avoid getting pregnant. So the man didn't know. He thought there was something wrong with them. So going to the hospital, all these lab tests and all of that, spending money and all of that. Meanwhile, the woman knew what she was doing. So one day he chanced on the woman and then asked the reason why she was doing it. She said, well, she has just been promoted in her workplace and she cannot jeopardize her work for pregnancy. I mean, after 3 good years of marriage.
So can we shift the blame to education in this case?
Well, yes. I mean, because she's been educated, she knows post pills, she knows how to avoid it and all of that. That's why she's doing. Assuming she wasn't educated and she didn't know even what family planning was, even post pills was. I mean, she wouldn't have done this. Yeah, she wouldn't have gone that far. But then let's also think about it. She has done that, but I think it would have been right if she had discussed with her husband that, oh, well, I think maybe we can have kids after this number of years of marriage, but and that would have settled it.
Along with the maturity of the husband.
Right.
You have to know your husband very well before you.
Yeah, it's also how he would take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I am thinking there would have been
marriages and other stuff.
I think he would have been understanding or something. Or you don't think so? Do you think
the issue was on how the lady will bring it out and and how the man will be able to take that issue?
Okay.
Because it could be that if he had told the man would have disagreed with her. Therefore, she took that decision that I would be taking that decision.
No, but I mean, it's a marriage. It's supposed to be two-sided something. It's supposed to be both.
So that's where understanding comes in.
But then, let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back. I welcome you once again back to the show. Before we went for the break, we were talking about girl-child education, some of the inconveniences and the barriers. Now, we'll dive more into women empowerment. Okay, so we can still talk about some of the inconveniences of girl-child education, and one of it is late marriages. So because I want to acquire education to the highest level, I don't even think of marriage. I feel marriage is a second thing. It's not anything important to me.
Okay.
So
I agree with you.
so you just want to acquire your education, then maybe after that, and then it has led many women to get married at their late ages. Let's say maybe getting married at 50s. That's why some of us we are roaming around. We are not into any relationship, not because we don't have guys that we can go out with, but because we want to focus on our
are you part of that category? Are you?
Yes.
The Single Women Association. I see.
We just want to be single for now and concentrate on our education. And I think that really is not helpful.
Thank you.
Yes, because we should also consider marriage or relationship. it starts from somewhere.
But the marriage and relationship can also prevent you from your education.
How?
I don't think so.
The problems that comes along with relationship. Look at the stress that we go through in relationship. And
stress is
education, emotional stress. Look at you need attention from your partner and you're not getting the attention from your partner. Let's not shift this to that though. We are still in the domain of education. But this can be a kind of prevention for that.
Really? Okay. Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, that's it.
I agree with what you are saying with Hypatia, who was the first female scholar. She remains celibate for her to achieve all her goals.
Yes.
So I can back you with that.
And one thing too that comes with late marriage will also be difficulties in childbirth.
Yeah.
Yes. Difficulty because when your age is advanced and menopause, signs of menopause, and these days because of the food we are taking in all, menopause does not even keep long. Some people experience signs of menopause in their 30s. In their 30s.
But with childbirth, anything can happen. Miracles can happen. How does Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
This is science.
We know it is science.
Yes,
we have the childbirth. Anything can happen.
Right. Childbirth. Miracles can happen. Miracles can happen. Okay. No doubt. But when we are talking in the domain of science, then we know that is going to be difficult after some age to give birth. Right, so let's talk about some of the advantages of girl-child education.
Like national development.
Right.
So when you educate a female, the higher rate of unemployment reduces.
Right.
Yeah, so the country's investment and getting or providing other stuff for ladies would kind of be reduced.
Okay, so another advantage too is that with girl child education, it allows the girls to make decisions on their own. So taking into consideration, like if you don't have you've not acquired education, the main thing that whatever they say, it should be imposed on you. Whatever they say, you should take it like that. But because of the education that we have acquired, I say whatever I want to say. I make my
rights.
I know my rights. Yes.
Right. Well, for me, one advantage is me. I am an advantage of girl-child education.
Okay. We are all advantages.
So we are advantages of girl-child education because we are here educating you right now on the importance of educating all other females and giving you informations that are very key to us and to the development of all of us. I mean, these days when we look at the political domain and all of that, it has to do with women who are pushing forward in the sector of politics. When you look at countries that have really done well, I mean, just take a look at it. Developed countries, developing countries, and the third category, undeveloped, right? So when you look at these developed countries, you realize that the rate of females that have been educated is very high. The rate of female literacy is very high, and because of that they put in effort. One nature about women is we reproduce. Everything you give to us, we multiply and we give it out again. So we don't keep, we produce and we give out. So you realize that when females are more educated, the chances of the nation as a whole developing is very high. And when you look at countries that are developing, females are being educated, but it's not as much as the males. And in the sector of politics, females are there, but they are not much, in a lot of African countries to say. So I think that is a very good way to end our discussion on the advantages of girl-child education and girl-child education as a whole. And let's dive right into women empowerment. What are your views on women empowerment?
Okay, so I think women empowerment is just giving the women the advantage to be independent, just being on their own, and making decisions for themselves.
Okay.
To add up, it's those with self-strength for building efficiency for females. Okay.
Yeah, and I think when we are mostly talking about women empowerment, we have to do it, making the woman find her self-worth, so that she doesn't feel less of a human being. she finds confidence in herself. She finds strength in herself. She's able to support herself, and also she's able to make use of the skills she has. Mostly it has to do with skills as well. You know, communication skills, you know, hand skills, as in being able to sew, to make things with your hands and all of that. And
with the skills, we have to look at the demand in market first.
Yes. All of that has to do, because when you are empowered, you become financially literate. You are able to read the economy. You are able to know what the market demands and what you are supposed to put out there. All of that has to do with women empowerment. And one main thing about women empowerment is being able to cross the barrier of this sector is for men.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's where equity will come in.
Yeah.
You know where you aren't very strong in, so you seek for help for you to kind of become equal.
Yes. You know, it gone were the days where we used to say mathematics is for
only men.
Mathematics is
Being
for
a doctor
men.
is supposed to be only
B for men, a lawyer,
only men.
Yes.
Politics,
Physics, politics, and now we have women, you know, breaking and setting new records in all those areas, and that is what women empowerment is about. Right, and then I would also like to educate us on the differences between women empowerment and feminism, and then female chauvinism.
Okay.
I mean, when you take women empowerment, it's just about making the woman find herself worth. Feminism has to do with fighting for equal rights. You know, advocacy for equal rights, so that it does not mean because you are a man you are supposed to get this, and because I'm a woman I'm not supposed to get this. When we all work hard, we are supposed to get paid the same amount and everything. But the difference here is female chauvinism. When we talk about female chauvinists, there are people who believe they are supposed to be higher than men. You know, they are supposed to be superior. Yes, they are fighting to be superior. They are fighting to say, well, it is not just, it is not the man's world, it's a woman's world. It's the woman who runs the world. Yes, they disregard men and they do not respect men
at all.
Yes, so let's make this difference, and let's not hate females who are feminists, because they are just fighting for equal rights.
Equality.
Let's not hate NGOs who are, you know, working towards women empowerment. They are just making them find their self-worth. Female chauvinists are actually against the goal of feminists.
Why? Because they think
they are supposed to be superior.
Let me come in. Do you know that there is no smoke without fire?
Well,
So for one to be a chauvinist, there must be a reason for that.
Yeah.
Me thinking that I'm superior than a man, I menstruate. Yes, though, I school with it. I write examination whilst I'm menstruating.
Right.
Won't I think I'm
so
superior?
you think the guys, they don't face
I'm not
anything?
trying to say, I agree with her for saying that it's not good, but I am putting it in this way that there is no smoke without fire. They might definitely have reason for doing that.
But it can be smoke without fire.
With pregnancy and still schooling.
You're right. I mean, I understand all of that. So, yeah.
Do you know the kind of pain they also feel?
Right.
And
Okay.
that they also do. But look at 9-month journey, schooling with this. You know the mood swings that it comes along with.
Okay,
Vomiting, writing examination, sleeping. Yes, so you have to wake
Do you know how they also feel when they have sperm cramps?
Okay, right. Okay, fine. None of us is a male here. Right.
What ends good? I'm not saying that we should take one side.
Okay.
What ends good though? But there is always a reason for someone doing that.
Okay, so I understand. Okay, but then, in as much as we are not encouraging female chauvinism, we are not encouraging male chauvinism as well. Equality is good. We are all human beings, as the good book says. Man and woman, He created them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our last words on this show. Right, so I mean, wrapping up, what I would just like to put across over there is, it is very good for us all to be educated, but in as much as we take preference on the female education, let us also attach importance to educating males as well, and then let's continue to educate and encourage more females. Let's continue to push them to go into especially the formal education, because now it is, you know, what is going on. I mean, it is the best way to be to undergo education, and I think education is also one of the main tools for women empowerment. So if you really need to empower women, let's put on the prize of educating them.
Okay, so my focus is just in the rural areas. Okay. So I think the NGOs who are available should go there to help the ladies. Because there are intelligent ladies out there who have still not gotten education.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so the NGOs should help.
Yeah, I promise to share a few NGOs that are really into girl child education and women empowerment, getting to the end of the conversation. No. So we have in the northern region of Ghana, Sontaba Women's Rights Coalition, and we have internationally they are everywhere. That is UN Women, and then also we have Women for Women International. Then we have World Inspiring Network. These are all NGOs, and there are more out there. We have Comfort and Mastercard. All of these are there for our females. So go out there, search, get help, and be educated.
And they give out scholarship. Let's not forget that it's in a form of scholarship. Every form of education with all the basic needs that a girl child will need for her education. Sorry.
Yeah, so maybe these ladies have not gotten the information about that, so maybe they should just try and go there.
Okay, so my last word is we shouldn't forget that education is a necessary tool for women empowerment. Also soon we have to come to the end of the program because time isn't on our side. But I hope you all enjoyed yourself.
I enjoyed myself.
I wish we could continue.
Enjoyed yourself very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we sign out, I would like to urge you all to follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook as The Daily Trend at The Daily Trend TDT, and on YouTube, The Daily Trend Playlist. And catch us live on 8:15 a.m. on every Saturdays. Before we leave you, you know that the New World TV always bring you with juicy information, so we'd like to leave you with a little video or a little info on women empowerment. Stay tuned.
For those of you who may not know much about my background, I grew up in a working class neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. And we lived in a really small apartment. I often woke up at 4 in the morning when the house was finally quiet, just so that I could concentrate and finish my schoolwork. My parents told me every day I could do anything. I could grow up to be a doctor, a lawyer, a scientist, whatever, but only if I worked as hard as I could to succeed in school. I did everything in my power to be a good student. I dreamed of one day going to one of the best universities in America. But despite my efforts, there were still people in my life who told me that I was setting my sights too high, that a girl like me couldn't get into an elite university. And after a while, I started to wonder, well, maybe I was dreaming too big. And the fact that I was a girl and that I was black, well, that certainly didn't help things either. You know what it's like when a family struggles to make ends meet. And the world needs more girls like you growing up to lead our parliaments and our boardrooms and our courtrooms and our universities. We need you. And that starts with making sure that every girl on this planet has the kinds of opportunities you all have to get the education and to succeed. As you've heard, right now there are more than 62 million girls around the world who are not in school. Girls whose families don't think they're worthy of an education or they can't afford it. Girls like Malala Yousafzai, who are assaulted, kidnapped, or killed just for trying to learn. One of these girls could have the potential to cure cancer or start a business that transforms an industry or become the next president or prime minister who inspires her country. I see women who are going to win elections and science competitions and arts awards. I see leaders who will inspire folks not just here in Tower Hamlets, but all across the country and all around the world. That's what I see. Because I know what's inside of girls like you and like me. I know how hard we'll fight for our families, how deeply we care about our communities, how much of a difference we can make for those around us. And I've seen it again and again and again. that what our parents told us really is true. That if we get our education, we can do anything. We can lift up ourselves to heights we could never imagine. We can pay forward all of the love and support that our families have poured into us. And we can truly be, as Dr. Ogden says, builders of a new day. That is your work. That's my hope for you.